last stage of doing your tummy tuck. And I would point out, you know, one of the important reasons for doing a tummy tuck on my Jeep is I'm running just a 2.5-inch suspension lift. So I'm pretty low. So I only have 31-inch tires right now, 31 10.5. So I'm relatively low to the ground, which is great center of gravity, but you know, clearance is a challenge. So at this point, you've done a 1-inch motor mount lift, 1-inch body lift, and put in the SYE, and put in a new drive shaft, and put in the skid plate. So now you've got the flat skid plate in there, and if you're like me, take it out and go for a run, and realize that the car is going to shake your fillings out of your head because your drive line is not balanced now. So the last step is that you've got to fix the angles in your drive line. And the way you do that is by adjusting the pinion in your rear axle. So you got to adjust that so that it points directly at the transfer case. And you do that with some shims.
So this is my original 2-degree shim. This is aluminum, and it did not hold up all that well. I mean, obviously it was only in there for, what did it say, maybe not even 3 years, 2.5 years, something like that. And you can see it's just falling apart. Just peel the pieces right off of it. So, you know, there's a lot of recommendations. Just make sure you go with steel. This came with the kit, the Rubicon Express kit, so, you know, it worked. And while it's pinched in there, obviously it's not going to come apart while it's pinched, but eventually it's going to corrode and break or something. So, anytime you're using, doing these angles, shims to fix your angles in the back, you definitely want to go with steel. And what I figured out is that I needed to move from my 2-degree to 6-degree shims. So what you see in there now is a 6-degree right there on top of the springs. So that leveled things out for me just about right. I mean, it seems to gotten rid of all the shimmying, although it's not exactly straight at it, it's pretty dang close. So, and you'll notice I got some new bolts on there to hold down. It's just so much easier when you have to remove those U-bolts to just cut them off and just put a new set on. But one thing I haven't done is trimmed off the bottoms. So you do have to get not only the shim, but you have to get a new longer bolt here in the middle to go through it, because obviously you've got a lot more distance to cover. So you get a new bolt. I forget what they call that. It's kind of like a little positioning bolt. It's got a little nub on the top that fits into the axle. So I still have to cut these off to clean that up. But that 6-degree made all the difference. So now, when I'm underneath here, this is pointed straight up. So you want this joint pretty much as straight as you can, maybe 1 to 2 degrees below, down, so that when your acceleration, it twists a little bit and it goes up to parallel. But you want that to be parallel, and you want all the joint work to happen up here at the double cardan, and that's what it's doing. So you can handle much larger angles with this type of a setup.
What I did in getting myself more under clearance is moving my exhaust. I'll show you that too.
Well, here you got the oil pan. Here you got your transmission. So originally the exhaust, and I'll put in a picture, came down and went over here by the underneath the transmission over to the far side and then back. And it, you know, you could remove your oil pan if you needed to, I guess was the plus for that. But the downside was that it was very low. I mean, it sat way down here, and you'll see that in some of the pictures. So now, this is the exhaust now. Comes down, goes around in front of the oil pan, and then goes back. That's it over there. Comes down and goes to the back. So that significantly increased my clearance underneath.
So in conclusion, doing a tummy tuck, is it worth it? I think it probably is. For me, it was a lot of work. There's obviously a number of steps. This isn't cheap. By the time you add up all of those pieces, you're definitely over $1,000 in parts. So it's not cheap, but it has made my Jeep way more capable than it was, and fixed a few things that probably need fixing anyways. So I'd recommend it, and hopefully these have been helpful.